Taon 2016. The place, Tiendesitas, Year 2 po ng Moto Builds Pilipinas. And that's where I saw a different kind of build as entered by Charles Cruz. Gumawa po siya ng tribute bike ng isang design prototype na ginawa ni Frenchman Chief Kiska designer Maxime Thauvenin for Husqvarna. This was way before the full-on production. Ito yung nauna sa mga gantong linya na nabuo sa Pinas. That bike's design got seared into my head and made such an impression. So you can imagine my delight na ito na siya, produced and accessible to many. Welcome to Makina Moto Features as we focus on the Husqvarna Vitpilen 401.
You let me violate you. You let me desecrate you. You let me penetrate you. You let me complicate you. Help me, I broke apart my insides. Help me, I've got no soul to sell. Help me, the only thing that works for me. Help me get away from myself. I wanna fuck you like you know.
It's the Husqvarna Makina debut, and as such, I'll give a bit of some history behind the company. The brand is known by many slapped on good quality power tools. If we dig deeper, makikita natin that the name Husqvarna has been around since the late 1600s. Gumagawa po sila ng sewing machines, typewriters, and ancient guns called muskets. Noong 1903, ayan na, they started doing motorcycles. It eventually got bought by the Italian brand Cagiva. Tapos noon, nakahanap sila ng niche by being a force to be reckoned with in the off-road world. Fast forward tayo to an era where we all exist. This brand went through MV Agusta, BMW, and recently KTM. And here we are now.
You can have the hate that it brings. You can have my absence of faith. You can have my everything. Help me till I'm no reason.
Kung nakanood na kayo ng Makina feature on KTM, you will recall that I mentioned na matagal na ang relasyon ng KTM and Kiska, an industrial design company. They've been at it since 1992. And it made sense for KTM to tap Kiska's services for Husqvarna since they are sister companies. The Vitpilen is a Swedish word. Ang ibig sabihin po nito ay white arrow. Meron po itong 375cc engine at sasabihin ko na po, ito po ay highway legal sa atin. Meaning on paper, it is registered as 400cc. Paano nangyari yon? You know, that's another long story and siguro gawa na lang ako ng ibang video for that. Basta klaro, pwede mag-highway ito. 44 horsepower ang kaya nitong ibuga from a single piston double overhead cam configuration. Itong makina na ito, it is derived from the KTM 390. Dry weight is 330 pounds, so power to weight ratio is very KTM-esque, sprightly and playful. This also leaves a lot of room to the imagination power-wise kasi may kuya pa ito, yung 701 Vitpilen at 693cc with 73 HP. We have 6 gears here alongside cool-looking 43mm inverted forks sa harap and adjustable monoshocks at the rear. Wheels are at 17 inches. It is liquid-cooled and fuel-injected, of course. Gas tank can take close to 10 liters of fuel. Seat height naman ay 32.9 inches. So, pwede na rin para sa mga Pinoy. Design-wise, in the past decade, yung demand for modern retro bikes ay lumaki lang talaga na lumaki. People were getting into custom bikes, doing cafe racers, scramblers, trackers, and so on. And Husqvarna, they wanted to capture the essence of what motorcycles were in the past and what people were missing with modern bikes. They wanted that in one package, kumbaga ipaghalo ang luma at bago, and approach that in the most modern, progressive way. Basically, mag-offer ng totoong alternative to what is out there.
Okay, Vitpilen, fire it up. Wow, this has a nice, very sporty feel already. Kill switch. Let's turn it on. Right now, let's roll. Nice thumpy power. Okay, acceleration's alright. Sounds great too. Interesting husky we got here. So doing quickie overtakes here and there, you're gonna get some decent usable power for quickie overtakes when you gotta get out of the way. So di tayo mabibitin sa ganon. So it's one of those bikes that you're gonna stand out in.
So pag ronda natin sa syudad, I can't help but draw parallels with the Duke 390. The acceleration and energy is on the same level. Pero hanggang dun lang. Nagkaiba na sa ride and position. Obviously, mas sub-sub tayo dito. So the RC390 is the more sensible comparison. However, wala pa tayong saddle time with the RC390.
The Husqvarna Vitpilen, of course, this is the sporty version. The position or the feeling that I get, I call this the overhang sport position. So I feel like I'm hanging over the front of the bike, although it's not what it is. I mean, obviously, I'm not over, but it's just that that's how I feel. Because of where the position of the handlebar is in relation to where my waist is. It's a bit closer to me in that sense. But that feeling will go away if you put your ass back a bit more. And if you put your ass back a bit more, like what I'm doing right now, then I feel much lower even. But you know, at least for me though, at 5 minutes you get used to it, and it won't be long before you'll feel connected with the bike. Husqvarna Vitpilen in bad traffic. Turning radius is not going to be as generous as other bikes, I think, but I'm getting by, weaving in and out, getting myself out of bad traffic. Nice and slim. In terms of the handlebars, because these are clip-ons and you won't get as much leverage, despite that fact, it's not as heavy as I expected it to be. It's actually not bad.
Now, while yung looks nito can give off a parang kayang-kaya ko to ride, please note that the position is true blue sport. Pang racing talaga ang posisyon. Hindi siya alanganin na cafe racer na pamporma lang. If you are into sport bikes, magagets mo to agad. Suspension will lean into the stiffer spectrum, nakatono pang kantuhan talaga, and for the track, I would seriously consider upping the ante with thicker, stickier tires. After that, kompleto ka na pang track.
So with these versions, this would be the base model, 200cc, 175,000, and then the 400cc of this, which is basically how this whole thing looks. It's going to be at 295,000, and the top of the line in front of me right now is 315. So clearly, what is the big difference? It's this whole part over here, the seat, and of course the handlebar and the exhaust. That would be the difference. Everything else is pretty much the same. You got your 17-inch wheels. The specs would be identical as well, except for the fact that as part of the premium package of the Vitpilen, they are using Metzler tires. So basically, overall, the difference in performance, these are road tires obviously, and what you have in the Vitpilen are dual sport. For the brakes, very proper. ABS is now the norm. ABS at the rear, and you have ABS at the front. Nice touch here, fork protector covering the front forks like so, and it's nice and thick too. Nice. And straight up, I'm gonna point this out already. What I appreciate about the Vitpilen, you know, as a flagship, they have their own set over here in terms of how the handlebars are configured. It's not like foreign, you can put handlebars here because there are two holes here, like a provision. I mean, I hate that. I mean, if this is gonna be a racer, if this is gonna be a sporty bike, then let's treat this as a sport bike or a classic sport bike for what it is. No aftermarket provision, and I thank Husqvarna for doing that. So one of the differences as well of the Vitpilen with the Svart, it's going to be a single seat configuration, one piece, as opposed to the Svart, this is a two-piece configuration. Now, to be honest with you, I'm kind of digging the quality of the seat of the Svart more than the Vit. I can't speak for the Svart 400 because I haven't seen the Svart 400 yet, but for the Svart 200, I mean, I like the seats. I like this whole feel of the seat. This one is okay. It's sleek and nice, but I just prefer rib seat. So just like the Svart, you're going to have a lot of play for the pillion and lesser play for the rider. Trellis frame going on there. Again, very, very good quality. So you can see the innards. You can see the guts, so to speak. I'd have to say it's done pretty well. Although you can see the guts, it still looks neat. It's not cluttered looking. Yep, everything's where it's supposed to be. Even the side stand is nice and thick. All right, let's take a look at the gauge. We're gonna go for mode. We got this mode, so I'm gonna hit set, key press, and let's see what'll pop out. Release the button and we get Supermoto. Keep it pressed again. You are now back to road. So mode, it's telling you that your side stand is down, your fuel range, time trip 96 minutes, time trip 96 minutes. You also have your average speed. Got a lot of information if you want. So you got your clock, your fuel gauge, your temperature. Those are the things you have there. Okay, so right now let's take a listen. Fire it up. That's what it sounds like. For the lights, ring light LED all the way. That's your bright. And of course your signal lights also LED, and your brakes. Those are your brakes. While this is based off the KTM 390 engine, you're gonna see the exhaust coming out here, and I think that is beautifully done. Although if there's a way to incorporate that, the exhaust is just gonna be cut right there. I mean, just like what they did here, because it just looks super clean with a Svart when there's no pipe sticking out. I don't know if they can do that or if that's even possible, but not to say that, you know, this is a bad looking muffler. I'm saying it looks fine. It actually looks like an Akrapovic pipe. It's situated in a nice place at the rear also, and you can see how it is aligning itself to this part over here in the bike, so it looks nice and symmetrical, so it looks like it makes sense. There's like a flow, like zhoo, zhoo. See the V going there, shoo, 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 and you got the exhaust going shoo, in line with what we have here, shoo, shoo. So pretty good, but again, I'd prefer if they could hide that. Another request that I have, I wish they would have a spoked version of this, but I've been seeing spoked versions on the net, so it's possible for you to change that later on. But if they did spoked wheels right now, I think it's just gonna jack the price up. So for what it's selling for right now, it's already a good deal, and you can just incrementally improve all of these little things here and there. Some of the improvements I would do, same with the Svart, I would change this. In fact, I would ditch that. This is a bit regular, that's a bit regular, but it's not bad. Like the Svart, I think this is a cool grip in the sense that it's got, you know, the logo, and you got that going on there. This is very high quality. I mean, you can look at it right now, and this is screaming high end. All these little touches here and there that's, you know, adding on to what the Vitpilen is. So between the two, you got the Svart, you got the Vitpilen. Which one do I like? I like this one. I'd go for this one, hands down.
Fuel consumption is an unsurprising 21.580 kpl. This is an all-out walwal, maxing out each gear mode. Walwal talaga. Acceleration. As you can see, we can get up pretty quick in a speed range to up to 120 kph. Pretty much in the very useful real world and legal range. Pero medyo eto na yung sinasabi kong your imagination will gravitate to the much more powerful 701 Vitpilen. This bike simply looks faster than what it is capable of, so my expectations were high when taking off. Still, it's pretty decent for a sub 400cc bike.
Vitpilen braking. Try the rear first. So what's interesting about the rear ABS, you know when you're braking and you are stepping down on the brake, and you can feel the ABS on your foot going tuk, 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 tuk. This one I can't feel it, but I can hear the ABS working. I'm pressing down on it like so. I can hear it go click, clack, click, clack, click, but I can't feel it with the brake lever. It's not a bad thing, it's just that it's something I have never experienced before, and I think it's interesting how they did that. Okay, that's me on the rear brakes, really slamming on it. Try the front right now, gently first. Hit me, scooter! That's not how you U-turn, boss. Let's try the front again. Gently first. Okay, again. Interesting. It's the same thing. I don't feel the ABS on the lever. I don't feel it going. I just hear it happening, and I know it's working. Okay, so the front brakes are pretty good. Now, might as well talk about the suspension in junction with the brakes of the Vitpilen. You're going to be lunging at the front, and that tells me that the front shocks are dipping more than usual, I guess, with at least what I'm used to, what I'm expecting. So if that's happening and you're lunging forward, you're already in sub-sub mode, I would highly suggest that your legs, as soon as you hit the front brakes and you're really lunging forward, really grip it with your legs to help push you back up. Now we shall try both brakes, and I'm already feeling that I'm not going to be disappointed. Okay, let's try both brakes right now. Pick up the pace, and 50, and brakes. Wow, great. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, good. Of course, I'm not jamming it on too much, but if I can, and I will, in an emergency situation, I know this thing's gonna stop properly without me spilling. Okay, good job, Husqvarna. Good job, Vitpilen on brakes. God. Okay, good.
After staring and thinking about the Vitpilen 401 more, I think it would be cool to offer sub-variants in this range, like a special edition 401. I'd put more color in the range too, and make it limited. Like for 2021, maybe a limited run of 500 worldwide for a Vitpilen 401 in Pelham blue with spoke wheels, etc. You can imagine this can go on and on, right? Thus milking this design. Undeniably, ang Husqvarna has come up with something special. Isang motor na sobrang kakaiba. It is a design that can challenge sensibilities on what is possible sa pag-ukit at hugis ng isang motor. Wala siyang kapareho. It is but right to move forward and challenge the norm and tradition. But the trick is to balance that with the reality of business and sustainability. At $315,000, can the people get and digest the Vitpilen? Well, I think so. And they should. The Vitpilen is groundbreaking and clearly the most forward-looking bike of this year. It's sophisticated, but very approachable. Thank you, Husqvarna, for pushing moto design boundaries. This is Zach from Makina Moto Features. Ciao.